In this video, I'm going to show you how to make your subs sound better. And we're going to look at how to do that within Serum itself, how to do it with EQ, and then how to do it with post-processing tools like saturation and distortion. So before we do anything else, I've got this EQ that is playing a basic sub-bass sine wave. So the type of sub-bass I'm talking about here is the sub-bass that's going to be underneath your main bass. And you'll see that I've cut off at 200 Hertz and above, because we only want to focus on from about 20 Hertz, which is here, to 200 Hertz, which is here. And then the rest we don't care about for our sub. So as you can see, a basic sine wave creates this shape, but then we've got all this space here missing for potential sub sounds and new harmonics. And there's also this space over here, but this bit doesn't really matter. So let's look at how we can fill this space up in Serum. So I've got a initialized Serum preset here, and we put it on basic shapes and we get our sub. And we're just going to put it -2, and then when we play something, we get that basic sub sound. So now we've got our Serum patch and our EQ side by side. You can see the sub being created. How can we add more harmonics? So there's two main methods to do this. You can either do it by drawing it in on oscillator A, or you can add another oscillator in oscillator B. So it's really simple. On oscillator A, you just open the draw section here, and then we find bin 3 and we draw it on here. And then we get this extra harmonic sound here. One thing to note is that your initial sound, so this sound here, always needs to be the loudest element. So make sure that this doesn't go louder than it. Otherwise it will start to sound less like a sub and more like just a bass sound. So we can do like this or like this. You can experiment with what sound you like. And then there's also these bins as well that you can experiment with. But typically we only add it in bin 3. It depends what kind of sound you're going for. Now how do we do this in oscillator B instead? All we do is get a basic shape on oscillator A and make it -2. And do exactly the same on oscillator B. But then we come into oscillator B here and we turn off bin 1 and turn on bin 3 like this. And it gets a similar sound. You just have a little bit more control because then you have the two shapes separated. So you can do things like this. Not that you'd want to, but it's always worth experimenting with different ideas. So we can make this a bit louder here. And then we can turn this level down as well. So overall you can see it just gives us more control. So you might do something like that. So now we've got our sub bass sounding thicker. Let's see how we can modify it even more with EQ. So if we add a brick wall on 20 Hertz and then a brick wall on 200 Hertz, and then we click play, we've still got all these frequencies to mess with. So for example, we can play this and maybe we want to boost here. And maybe we want to boost like up here as well. And little changes like this can make your sub bass sound even fatter. And EQ is just worth experimenting with. It also helps clean up your mix. If you're enjoying this video and you want to learn how to make crazy good, consistent music, I've got a free music production workshop down below. So just click on it, sign up, and you can watch it completely free. So now that we've created new harmonies, we've EQ'd it, if we want it to sound even fatter, we can try adding some saturation, or we could try adding some distortion. So let's try some saturation first. And I'm just gonna copy this EQ to channel 3 and remove these bands, because when the saturation gets added in, it's going to add new frequencies above 200, which I don't want. Maybe you do want them if you want to make just a sub on its own style bass, but this is just a sub to go under our main bass. So let's try with some saturation to start with. Now this is the closest thing FL Studio has to saturation. And once this is done, I'll show you on Ableton as well. So we can just experiment basically. We can try with this one. And then you can get these really nice, thick, deep sounding subs. Imagine that underneath a really cool bass line. That would sound incredible. And then we can also try things like distortion. So something like this distortion here. See what different sounds you can get. So it's worth experimenting with a bunch of plugins here. Maybe you've got some external saturations or external distortion plugins, and see what kind of cool sounds you can get from your sub. And then here on Ableton, we can add a saturator and experiment with different things. So we can turn the drive up, the output down, and experiment with all these different sounds here. And of course, you're going to want to doing the same sort of EQing things here. Experimenting with different sounds. And you can just hear how thick and how much better these sound than just using a basic shapes on its own and not much else. Let me know in the comments how your sub basses are sounding now in your tracks. It'd be cool to hear. And if you found this video helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could smash the like button. Thank you for watching. I'll see you all in the next one.